What's going on, everybody? Little late start, but always good to go. Doesn't matter. We're here, and um, just want to thank everybody from coming over from Aaron. Thanks to everybody who came over for the raid, and this is going to be a fun one tonight. Just thought of this on the fly, and always like talking ball with my boy behind stage, anyways. So, Aaron, how you feeling tonight, my guy?
Yeah, man, not too bad. We just had a good stream on the OGs. Big up to the chat. Big up to everyone that's come over. By the way, that's fantastic, man. And please, while you've came over here, we're double grateful for that. But if you can give Gianni a cheeky subscribe and definitely a quick little click on that like button, man, it would do the guy the world of good for the channel. He deserves it. I'm very glad that he started his own channel. And listen, everyone that's going to subscribe to it and becomes a regular listening to this guy, you won't regret it, man. His ball knowledge is phenomenal, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, big up, man. And thank you very much for having me on, G. That's what it's all about, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. So basically, we're not going to talk about Arsenal, man. We're gonna relax, sit back, and have a little fun with this one. And for everybody that's in the chat, I'd love to see everybody's opinion on this. So throw names in there and everything. But basically, this is all we're going to talk about today. If you could pick a starting 11, doesn't have to be the greatest of all time. Could be players that you like that maybe you think are underrated. Who would you pay to see live as far as a starting 11 together? Just thought of it. Just thought it'd be a nice little quick kickback thing to talk about and shoot the shit with. And yeah, man. I'll let you kick this off, man. So if Aaron had a choice, if Aaron was forced to put an 11 together that he would enjoy to watch, that he would pay to see play football, who would you pick, man? I'm really interested to see this.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. Obviously, we start with the goalkeepers. There's a nice little transition to the forwards because that's where you land with the forwards, didn't you? They're the ones everyone wants to pay to see. Because they're the ones that score the goals. They're usually the magicians. But yeah, starting with the goalkeepers. Do you know what? I'm going to keep it obviously within the years and give or take from what I've experienced and watched. So there probably will be a 30, 40 year bracket on where I can go back. That's because I'm not horrendously knowledgeable past 80s, 70s. That's fair enough. Do you know what goalkeepers I've always, or what goalkeeper I've always respected? And I didn't think really he got the credit he deserved. He got good credit, to be fair to him, but I always loved him. He was a short goalkeeper. It's Iker Casillas. I just always I don't know why. And I know that's poor for content. He was a fantastic goalkeeper anyway. But when I've just always looked at him, I thought, do you know what? I'd love to have Iker Casillas as our goalkeeper. He was unbelievable. He didn't obviously have the height and everything like that as to his advantage, like a lot of the goalkeepers. But I don't know. I just always warmed to him. I thought, do you know what? What a goalkeeper that guy is. And he was fantastic for Spain and Madrid. Let's not get that twisted. He was fantastic. And I'm not saying he's the best of the lot, but this isn't the best 11, is it? It's who would you pay to see? And do you know what? I've always wanted him at Arsenal. Do you know who else as well? And I know this is going a little bit off of topic ever so slightly. And it was another short goalkeeper. Do you know who I wanted at Arsenal? Shay Given. I've always, I don't know. Maybe I just like, because I'm a short ass myself. Maybe I just like short goalkeepers. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like Team Hobbit and that. But yeah, I just always wanted Casillas. If you'd have said to me 20 years ago, all the way up to, the time he retired, what goalkeeper would you want at Arsenal? It was always Iker Casillas. So that's why I'd sort of have him there, purely because I'd pay to go see him if he's the most goalkeeper I wanted. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he was the best of that generation. I mean, Buffon was unbelievable. And maybe you're going to, shock an Italian goalkeeper.
Not my guy. He's actually not my guy.
Oh, really?
No. That's why I said
I was just chewing that.
That's why I said I think now. That's why I said I think this is going to be fun because we can pick players from different eras to play together and everything else. So no, I'm actually going to give a guy a shout out. I don't know if a lot of people are going to know this guy. But the goalkeeper that I would like, I got to see him live a few times. His name is Morgan DeSantis. He's an Italian goalkeeper. He was very important for Napoli when we first came back up from Serie B into Serie A. And we didn't have the greatest defense. And the guy just made insane saves all the time. A lot more people maybe know him from his days at Rome because he left Napoli to go to Rome. And he just a fantastic shot stopper. He never got the credit he deserved. I don't even think he got a cap for Italy, if I'm being quite honest with you.
Italy in that what generation? I don't know him. I'm not going to be a YouTube liar.
Morgan De Santis was a really good goalkeeper, like probably 2008 to 2016. He left. So he was a part of the Napoli team that everybody came to love with Hamsik, Cavani, and Lavezzi. He was the goalkeeper with that team. The team that beat Chelsea 3-1 in Napoli, we eventually lost to him, but he was the goalkeeper from there. He left right afterwards. No, Tone, the goalkeeper for Dries Mertens was actually Pepe Reina from Liverpool. He left Liverpool to come to Napoli. Rafa Benitez got hired by Napoli, and we started our whole revolution. That was when we got Dries Mertens and Insigne and Callejon added to
I used to like Insigne.
That's one of my guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Morgan. I'm gonna go with Morgan De Santis. I don't think he's not really well known. Fantastic goalkeeper. If you ever watch a highlight reel of his saves, he's made some crazy saves. But yeah, man. What side left back you want to go to? Who do you want to start with, the left or which side do you want to start?
Let's go to the right because I'm trying desperately.
What's your formation?
Do you know what? I like going 4-4-2 because I want two strikers in there.
Okay.
I definitely want two strikers in there. But listen, it's your channel. You can say, yeah, thank you very much for your input, Aaron Talks Arsenal, but we're going to go ... It's only because I'm greedy. I want two strikers in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hint.
Okay, obviously.
Hint.
Obviously. Okay. Naturally. All right. So you want to start with your left back? Do you want to start with left or right back?
Do you know what? I'm going to start with right back, yeah.
Okay.
Like and do you know what? I'm very lucky in this sort of sense. I've always liked this guy, and it's so cheap that I'm going to say this guy initially. So in like, you remember the early days of Championship Manager?
Yeah.
I had like 99 2000 or something like that, and who was obviously one of the boys was Cafu, man. And I've always, I mean, he's one of the best anyway. Yeah. Like he's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Trophies speak for itself. The performances, both domestic, you know, in competitions, world stage. I mean, he was unbelievable. And also a couple of years ago, do you know that there's like is it football prizes or something like that? I entered a free competition, right? And it was fate for me. I've always rated and really liked Cafu. I entered a free competition, and they was like, "Oh, you've won a prize. It'll be a surprise." I thought it was going to be like a dodgy calendar or something. It was a free thing. I thought, yeah, sod it. It came through the post. I'm like, it is a fucking calendar, innit? It was in the A3 little thing like that. I opened it up, hand signed Cafu World Cup photo. I've got it upstairs.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've got it upstairs in the loft. Yeah. Little hand sign thing with all the certificates of authenticity. So it has to be for me a bit of Cafu, man. Yeah, cool. He's my boy.
Okay.
But if it weren't going to be Cafu, it was going to be a Boué. I mean, blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on the good times. Blame it on a Boué.
Okay. All right. So we got Casillas at goalkeeper, and we got Cafu at right back. All right. I'm going to go for somebody that I've always loved. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, in my opinion, but I'm going to go with Gianluca Zambrotta as the right back for my team. Zambrotta, as much as I hated him because he played for Juve in Milan in his time, when someone's good, you got to give them their props. And Zambrotta for me was just an unbelievable right back. He was one of my favorite defenders that I liked. Funny enough, that's the position I played, was right back, and he was my guy that I watched. Yeah, him and Cafu.
I was left back. Once I stopped growing when I was 4'9", I used to be a centre back when I was taller than everyone else when I was 4. And then I got shoved to left back when I stopped growing vertically. So we're both wing backs, man. Come on, that's it. Me and you should be in this team, bruv. I want to pay to see Gianni at right back, and trust me, people are paid to see me at left back now. Yeah. I'll be running.
My
I'll
knees
probably
are
be sick on the
destroyed.
pitch after 5 minutes.
Okay. So we got Cafu and Zimbrota. I got De Santis. You got Casillas. Who you going with your left back?
Well, I'm definitely not going to say Ashley Cole. Beep, beep. I don't know this. I feel like I'm picking my favourite team now, and I'm being unfair to this because I when we're talking about who would you pay to see, I'm also adding in the fact that I haven't seen some of these players as well. So,
Yep.
Abaji in the chat, you're bang on. I've never got to see Roberto Carlos play live. So for me, he was generational, weren't he? I mean, let's get that absolutely right. So I'm probably factoring in that too heavily, maybe for my choices. I don't know, but you pay to see players like that. He weren't. He was good defensively, but he was all about that flair and everything going forward. Them free kicks that he decides to bend 17 times before they go in. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I would pay to see him live. One, because I haven't done, and two, it's because you're getting box office. Now
Yeah.
I've said Cafu, who's obviously not that attractive as Roberto Carlos going forward, but you're talking about generational sort of players, and I don't want to make it my best 11, but when you're talking about left backs of my generation, especially if I don't want Ashley Cole and Sod Evra, who was a good left back for Man United, but Sod Evra, I'm not going to pick Clichy anytime soon. And Armand Traore, sorry, bruv, you didn't miss the boat. And guess what, Andre Santos as well. Nah. But yeah, I would pay to go see Roberto Carlos. That's what it's all about, man. Them players like that, they get you off your seat. And listen, I've been bored to death too many seasons at Arsenal, sat at the Emirates watching Mikel Arteta sides. If I can go and watch a player that's going to get me off my seat, I'm paying a few quid for it. I'm already paying a few quid to watch us stink the place out of left back with Zinchenko. Yeah, I'd definitely double up, treble up, quadruple up to see Roberto Carlos, man. 100.
Okay. I came up with a couple teams because, like I said, I'm trying to get everybody's onto this one because I just love learning knowledge from Kenny Ken, learning from DJB and Jez and Shane, you, Norms. So I came up with a few different teams. So I don't have all the best. I got all the best players scattered out across different teams. My left back for this team that I put together, my guy Giovanni van Bronckhorst. That's
for Barcelona or for Arsenal?
For Barcelona.
Yeah.
But he was cold at Arsenal, though. He was still cold at Arsenal, but I'm going to pick Giovanni van Bronckhorst. I love the way he could get up and down the pitch. He could pull a shot on you from a weird angle we saw in the World Cup. But Giovanni van Bronckhorst, I don't know. It was just something always about him. I always used to put him on my FIFA teams back in the day. Always liked him, man. So,
can I jump in there as well, right?
Yeah.
One, do you know when I think about Giovanni van Bronckhorst for Arsenal, I always think of 2002 season. And I don't know if you remember it, but when Robert Pires and Giovanni van Bronckhorst both got long-term injuries that season, and I'm sure it was Thierry Henry. Someone may correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure it was Thierry. Do you remember they always used to put like the words on their vests, so they'd take their top off when they're scored, and there'd be words there. And I always remember, I'm sure it was TT. He'd done Gio Robert, thinking of you, going in like we'd won a game. I can't think who it was in, but I always remember Giovanni van Bronckhorst. I always just remember that little bit because they got injury, and it's almost like, we're going to win it for you guys. You've got long-term injuries. This is going to spur us on. But do you know what? As well, when you brought me back to the Arsenal, Giovanni Bronckhorst, left back Silvinho. Do you remember that guy, man?
Yeah,
because there's the Barcelona link as well. So when you're saying Van Bronckhorst, I was like, oh, yeah. Talking about gold. Do you remember Silvinho? Chelsea, man.
Yeah.
Ed De Hoy, you ain't got a chance, my boy.
So the two other left backs, the left back that I had on the other team that I put together to throw, because, your Maldinis, your Roberto Carloses, all the greats. I love going back and picking out other players that had periods that were really good. Do you remember Capdevila that was on the Spanish national team in Deportivo La Coruña? He was my other left back that I had lined up to choose, but I just wanted to put Van Bronckhorst because I just think that like with this team that I've put together, Van Bronckhorst and Zambrotta gunning up and down the wings is just. I would love to see those two guys play together. Love to see those guys play together. I think they did play together for a year at Barcelona because Zambrotta went out there. I think Van Bronckhorst was done right before he got out there. Or because I'm trying to remember. He went back to Holland.
Early, wasn't he, Gio?
Yeah, he went back to Holland.
Yeah.
He went back to Feyenoord. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's Feyenoord he went to. I just don't remember if Zambrotta got to play with him. But yeah, man. So okay. So you got Roberto Carlos, you got Cafu.
I'm being cheap. I am. But I'd pay to see them. I would.
I hear it. That's what this is all about, man.
But you know, I'm gonna have to go in because if I say some of the best players in the world now, I'm gonna feel like I'm making this too easy. So I'm gonna also throw in a cheeky little curveball from time to time, man.
Okay.
But yeah, come on. Who wouldn't?
Who you got for your center back pairing?
My center back pairing, man. Well, it's definitely not going to be Stefanovs and Squillaci. That I can absolutely promise you. It's not going to be them. So sorry to shock the chat. I mean, I know they were unbelievable for Arsenal Football Club. Oh, Abaji, you've done me there. I think we're in sync, bruv. Nesta was unbelievable, but Lucio, man, that was a gear. I mean, I'm going very Brazil, you know, really, to be fair. Almost like they had a very good team in my era. But yeah, Lucio, man, is unbelievable, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What an absolute player. Do you know what I mean? Even if he had probably the worst eyebrows in professional football history, do you know what I mean? Like Jim's dad, Mr. Levenstein, do you know what I mean? But he could now fucking defend, couldn't he? I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And I don't know about my other centre back. It's definitely I was going to go Lucho. That's one of the first things I thought about in there, but I actually can't think. I'm struggling with the second one. Who would I pay to see? I've seen some people writing Sergio Ramos. I've seen him. Yeah, he was a prick. He's one of them players that if he plays for you, you love him, and if you don't, you hate him. Like, I always respected him as a footballer, but he pissed me off. I've never been a fan of Sergio Ramos. I don't know. I'll tell you what. Give me a little buy here. You go for one centre back and let me have a little think. I'm dying out here.
So I'm going to throw a name out there that I don't know if a lot of guys know. He was awesome with Napoli, and then he went on to win even more with Juventus after he left Napoli. Is Ciro Ferrara from the old days. He was with us for both of the Scudettes with Napoli, and then eventually moved on to Juventus. Was a part of that Champions League winning Juventus team in the '90s. It was just unbelievable. But yeah, I'm going to give my fellow Neapolitan a shout out here, and I'm going to go Ciro Ferrara for one side of the center back.
Do you know what? You're making me feel a little bit better here, yeah? Purely on the basis of you're going very, very home, ain't you? Like Napoli, yeah.
It's gonna change when we get to the midfield and everything.
It makes me feel that little bit better because I'm like, yeah, do you know what? There's a little bit of bias in Gianni as well. I'm cheaping out with the world-class players and you're just going Napoli. It makes me feel a little bit better. Centre-backs. Can I cheat the question and answer a different one? Do you know what I've always wanted? And I know I'm not answering the question. I do apologise. But I've always liked the old-school English-style centre-back. People will hate me for this because there's not an Arsenal player. I always liked John Terry. I just did. Not blessed with the best, you know, footballing ability in terms of his feet. But if there's a geezer that you want to go into war with, that is going to be a geezer that can captain you in the worst of the worst, take you to the trenches and lead you out of them. It's John Terry. I've just always liked him. Yeah, you could probably in that era go for a better visual style of a centre-back like a Rio Ferdinand. Excellent. You know,
I rate Terry more than Ferdinand, if I'm being quite honest with you. That's my opinion. I think Terry's a better centre back than Ferdinand.
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. So, would I pay to see John? I mean,
that's the question.
Would I pay to see John? I mean, you know, it depends. Is he going to be on the football field or knobbing fucking Wayne Bridges misses? Then I'd definitely pay for it. You know, for a little boy here and that, just hide in the closet. But yeah,
so you got Terry and Nesta, or you got Terry and Lucio?
I'll stick with Terry. Yeah, you know. I thought he was unbelievable. You know, he'll never get the plaudits globally because he
Mhm.
wasn't a stylistic player. But I tell you what, he was proper, almost like a Coles Puyol that someone was saying in the chat. You know, he was a Spanish John Terry, wasn't he? Gritty, horrible defender. You know, he was a bastard, and I love players like that. You can rely on them. They're a leader. They're a winner. They'll throw their head into challenges where they'll happily get 5 stitches in the nut because someone's booted them. That's what you want in your club, and that's what fans like us respond to as well. It's the passion.
Okay, so you got Terry as one. Did you say you had Nesta as the other one, or Lucio as the other one?
Lucio, yeah.
Lucio? Okay.
There's some really, by the way, there's some belter things in the chat. Like people are putting some real good sort of things in. I remember with PK, he was good, and we said Carlos Puyol. Do you know who was probably underrated? Taking it off topic ever so slightly, Rafael Marquez, man. I thought he was all right for Barcelona.
Yeah.
It's just because he was next to Puyol that I don't think he probably got the credit that he deserved. But I thought he was a great centre back.
I may be controversial in saying this. I thought Rafa Marquez and Puyol was a better center back pairing than PK. I thought PK was overrated, if I'm being quite honest with you. That's my opinion. I never saw what everybody else saw in PK. That's my personal opinion. I thought there was a lot more center backs that were better than him.
Yeah, that unit as well. I definitely 100% think, the Puyol and that Rafael Marquez. Yeah, I thought that was a fantastic partnership as well. Individually, both good. Puyol better, obviously. I always say with centre backs, most of the time as a pairing, you get a number 1 and a number 2.
Yeah.
You see it almost 95% of the time. There's always one leader centre back. Obviously, Puyol was the number 1 to Rafael Marquez, but when you've got a proper leader like Puyol was and a talented centre back, and they work well together, they've got that sync. You know what I mean? They've got the telepathy, and they can work together. Then you've got 2 fantastic centre backs. Because there's a partnership. There's no real other position on the pitch where you really need to have a good understanding in order to be a massively effective, team or a partnership. It's the 2 centre backs. That's what we've got at the minute at Arsenal. They're a good collective. Individually, yes, but they get on well together. If they didn't have a basic understanding of each other or anything like that, all of a sudden you'll see the mistakes creep in, or more often than not, because they haven't got an understanding. They don't know when to leave a go as you cover. You know what I mean? All of them little bits where you just go, oh, he's going to do this, so I'll stand here before he's even done it. When you ain't got that, Thiago Silva's a belter of a thing, by the way. But I've seen him for Chelsea. So, done, tick. But yeah, man, no, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And I'm enjoying this, man. Yeah, but I love reminiscing about the older players and all. Do you know what I mean? We've done this for hours backstage, haven't we, G?
Yeah, and this is what this segment is about. Is I just feel that, like, number one, people know who the greats are already. I don't really think it's that much of a debate anymore for who the greats really are. It's always good to bring it back up, but there's a lot of good players that a lot of other fans just don't know about. A lot of fans don't care to go back and look at some of the other good players. This is also about, you can also put players in of like the what if this player actually took care of themselves. What if this player actually took his ability to the fullest, what he could have been. You saw glimpses of stuff like that. There's just so many ways where you could go about building a team when you say you would pay to see them play. It's not only just about, you didn't see, like what you're saying, we didn't see Roberto Carlos, didn't see Cafu. I had the pleasure of actually seeing Lucio in the year that Inter won the treble.
Yeah.
But this is what this is all about, is just your own opinion. You could build whoever you want. And there's other players that people, for whatever reason, they like the players. Some people don't like certain style of players, other people do. That's why this is all about what you would pay to see in order to look at how you would want to build a team. For me,
sorry, let me just jump in. Sorry, I have to jump in here. It's in my head while it's still warm. I have to say it. So you said like a second ago, it might be sort of like players that you think as well could have gone to the top. or that quite didn't for various reasons, maybe through injury or just poor choice of club, and you've petered out, or poor attitude, whatever. Do you know what? When you said that, do you know the player that sprung to mind straight away? And it's the position as well that you may or may not have wanted to come to next. I don't know, but it is in the midfield. Abu Diaby. Abu Diaby, because I was sitting there, and when you said players that you really feel should have gone all the way to the top but didn't, man, Abu Diaby.
Yeah.
What a gutter for Arsenal Football Club. And I'm not saying if he'd have stayed fit and, gone to, the heights of what his potential sort of said, that he would have changed the course of Arsenal's history. I'm not saying that totally. However, when you look at the fact that Arsenal never really replaced Patrick Vieira until the closest thing we've really done was Thomas Partey. And that's still not a comparison, by the way. Patrick Vieira, come on, BB4 still.
Not even close.
But we actually replaced him a couple of years later with Diaby. I know not like for like, because he was still a young kid. I think from Auxerre, I think we got him from. For a couple of mil, I think only 2 mil. But we'd have been that midfield as well, by the way, with the Nasris and Jack Wilshere's coming through, and the Hlebs and the Rizikis and the Cesc Fabregases, of course. Diaby, when match fit and playing, was an unbelievable player. And it definitely contributed, I believe, somewhat significantly to actually Arsenal not getting over the line in some competitions, because he could have gone on to be the top, be top dog. And when you've got Patrick Vieira saying, yeah, I've seen Diaby, he would have actually been better than me. Listen, if Patrick Vieira's saying it, I'm not arguing.
Yeah. So, well, now this is going to make this interesting. You want to start with the wingers, or you want to start central mids? You got a 4-4-2. I'm going with a 4-2-3-1.
Oh, so you're going for the solo striker, are you?
Yeah. I think you're gonna like how this goes now. I've gotten past my Italian phase right now because the defense is out of the way. Now we're gonna get to some names. We're gonna get to some names on this.
I've got my right winger.
Who's your right wing?
I've got it, yeah. He was unless there was an early loan I don't know about. He was a one club guy in Spain. He's retired now, only like reasonably recently, and it's Joaquin, man. What a player! Like,
throwback right there.
Yeah. Now that guy was unbelievable.
He was a one-man player in Spain. He played in Italy for a little bit with Fiorentina.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah.
No, but he was great, man. Joaquin was great, man. He was fast. He had a great first step. Killer dribbler. A lot of people don't know how good of a dribbler Joaquin was back in the day. He was a killer. He was a killer. Yeah.
I feel like when we go back and we talk about some of the wingers of that generation, I feel like sometimes a name like that gets left out, man. I thought he was unbelievable, man. He was fantastic. Maybe I'm underselling him. Maybe people generally all just did think it was unbelievable. But I don't know. I don't ever think that he got the plaudits, that he got plaudits, of course. He was fantastic.
Oh, yeah, he got plaudits. Joaquin was a killer.
I'd love to have seen him in the Premier League. Maybe he would have been a bust. Who knows? But I'd have loved to have seen a player like that take the leap and see if he can, do the business. Hopefully he wouldn't have been like a Jose Reyes and got homesick. You know what I mean? Jose Reyes was brilliant when he came in. I remember it might not have been his first game. I'm a little bit sketchy on the exactities, if that's even a word. If it ain't, then there you go. Add it in the dictionary. But yeah, that Chelsea FA Cup 2-1, I think it was at Highbury. Might have been the third or fourth round when Jose Reyes come on. He'd only recently signed for the club. It might have been his first game, maybe not. But he scored 2 fantastic goals. Unbelievable, Reyes. But stop being a little bitch. Do you know what I mean? You're a football player. Oh, I'm homesick. What do you mean you're homesick? Grow up, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Grow up. Homesick. I need my mummy. Well, you're a rich geezer. Get her over here every other weekend. And if she don't want to fly over for free, then she just don't want to see you, mate.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
innit?
facts.
Come on, Recoba.
That was my. I'm happy
Yeah,
Ahmed put that in there.
Recoba
Recoba was one of my favorite players to ever watch. You know,
in a bad boy.
well, see, here's the thing: in Italy for Napoli, you're the main rivals is Juve, Milan, and Rome. So, and then we have smaller rivalries with smaller local teams in Cagliari. But Inter's the team that we really don't have a problem with. So, like when Napoli was in the lower divisions coming back up,
Yeah.
I rooted for Inter every year in Serie A and Recoba.
What a pin on him, man.
To watch him was unbelievable. You talk about somebody who should have been better and that injuries destroyed. I mean, you talk about just an unbelievable, just in general, Inter in that period from the mid 90s to the end when they won the treble in 2010, the amount of insane players that they had at that team was they were the Italian version of the Galacticos. Every year, spending crazy money, building an unbelievable team. I mean, the front three at one time was Christian Vieri, Ronaldo Fenomeno, and Recoba. I mean, and
nothing even comes close to that in nowadays football. Nothing.
No, not even close.
No, look, not even remotely close. Like it's country miles away. Do you know when you're sort of talking about Inter, and I'm going to say this player. To be fair, this player's best work was at Valencia or Valencia for the English geezers who can't pronounce Spanish. It's Keely Gonzalez. I always liked him.
Yeah.
I always liked a bit of Keely Gonzalez. Obviously, I know he come to Inter later on. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was at Valencia for a little while. But yeah, players like that. And did you have Sergio? Well, did you? You're Napoli. Sergio Conceição was
he was at Inter. Yeah. So was Djorkaeff.
Yeah.
Djorkaeff was on the same team.
Yeah, wicked wingers. Well, come on, man.
They had Zamorano was on the bench. He was that good of a striker. He was on the bench for Vieri and for Vieri and everything else. Big up Zier. Big up Zier that's in the chat. Big up my guy Zier.
Big up, brother.
Here's a shout out too from Quaja. That was my guy for a while. Was Wesley Schneider. When he came, he was awesome. Didn't get his run at Real Madrid. He obviously is a player. We all know his history of him drinking and not taking shit seriously, but them years at Inter, he was unbelievable. He was just unbelievable. Robbed of the Ballon d'Or in 2010. Robbed of the Ballon d'Or.
He was unbelievable. And do you know what as well? When I'm going to take it just slightly off track again. Sorry, Johnny.
Hey, no worries, man.
That's
the beautiful part of this show. That's the beautiful part of this show. We can go off track talking about players while we build the 11 that you would pay to see, man.
I'm loving it because I'm sitting there and now I'm thinking obviously that Wesley Schneider, one, Quaja, what a shout by the way. Two, then it makes me think about that that Dutch team of that generation.
Yeah.
And then you're like, going forward, they had Robben on the right hand side, Mark van Bommel sitting just behind them, Van der Vaart with them, Van Persie up top. What a Dutch side that was.
And they had my boy. They had my boy. Shout out to Zier, the Bundesliga mastermind. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar was a monster too.
Yeah.
If you remember Huntelaar, he had.
I do.
He was decent with Milan. He was decent with Real, but his best years was Schalke.
He went there too early, I reckon, at Madrid because they bought him quite young, didn't they? I think he went there at a pressurized club like that. Maybe one club too soon. I reckon.
I would agree, but him with that Schalke team, you talk about a cool throwback team. That old Schalke team with him, Farfan, Draxler as a kid.
Julian Draxler, the guy we never signed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and then remember, Huntelaar was there with Raul when Raul left Real Madrid and went to Schalke. Him and Raul was the two striker pairing at Schalke. It was odd. He was good too.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I knew we went to. I didn't realize that they played together. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. See,
one
knows what we're talking about. I know Zier knows who he was. That Schalke team. That Schalke team was one of my favorite teams to play on FIFA with because they were just all fun. Abjeet's doing some fucking business here with some of these names.
Milito,
Diego
yeah.
Milito was the guy at Inter. For my right winger, I love this guy. He was awesome at Barcelona. He came to Rome, tore it up with them. He was awesome with Monaco. My right winger is going to be Ludovic Joly. Yeah,
Ludovic,
man.
really, man.
Ludovic.
Yeah, that's a curveball. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought you'd have gone down that avenue. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Joly. When he was at Rome, he was ripping everybody apart in the City A. He was awesome. Loved him at Monaco.
Yeah.
Just a big fan of Ludovic Joly. Thought he was a baller that doesn't get enough credit.
He wasn't at Barca either, really, was he? To be fair.
No, he was decent at Barca, but it just wasn't. I mean, come on, look at that front three. Yeah. You got Ronaldinho and Eto'o stealing the show from you over there at Barcelona.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So who do you got for your left wing? I'm interested in this.
You know, my left wing, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I might now not Bale. It's one of them again. I've been there, seen that, done that sort of thing with Gareth Bale.
Mm-hmm.
Left winger, man.
I
can't think now. Yeah, I'm stuck. Go on, Nick. You go. I'm stumbling again. You know, I've named a few wingers, but not the one I actually want.
I'm gonna go down. You took a guy from Valencia. I'm gonna take a guy from Valencia. Do you remember old Vicente Rodriguez? He was the co-captain and captain of Valencia during the period when they won those 2 La Liga titles. He was an old school left-footed left winger, unbelievable dribbler with the ball, could always pull a goal out at any moment. He was a solid left winger, always liked the guy. Vicente, yes, everybody will know him as just Vicente. His last name was Rodriguez, but Vicente was an absolute baller. Always thought he was an underrated player.
Man. Yeah. To be fair, I'm a little bit lax on that. Again, I'll put my hands up. I'm going to go, yeah. I know. I'll be honest. Yeah, that's where sometimes my European knowledge ain't 100. And I'll happily admit that. Left wing. All of a sudden, every single name has gone out my head. We've sat backstage and reeled off about 50, 60, 70 names. Yeah, all of a sudden, I'm just stuck with players that played in England, like Pires. I'm like, no, I love what I've been there, sitting there, done that with Pires. Come on, man. Surely you can stretch yourself out. What we doing at Pyatt? Yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah, he was.
Left winger. Left winger. I'm proper stuck here. You know, I've not got not a single shred of a name coming to me. Can I cheap out and go a Ribery? Can I cheap out?
Oh, that was my guy too, man.
Can I? But do you know what? I've seen Ribery, and I've seen Ribery when we lost 10-2. So fuck Ribery. Fuck Ribery. No, I'd rather have no one than Ribery. Sod him. I saw him absolutely take us apart with my own mince pies. Yeah, that was no fun. That was no fun whatsoever.
Yeah. Ribery, he was.
Yeah, he was quality. I mean, he was unbelievable. And let's get it right. And I remember we was linked to him for a little bit because obviously in the earlier stages of his career, you know, Arsene Wenger being at the time, you know, a real top manager. French, we were signing French players. You know, I remember us being linked with him. I don't know how serious it was, but I can sort of remember thinking, oh, maybe we're going to get Ribery. And maybe that was, again, one of the players that we sort of let slide. Do you know what I mean? Amongst the many of them, to be fair, under that almost signed Arsene Wenger 11. I mean, you've got some of the best players on the planet.
Yeah.
But you've also got a manager who's choosing Theo Walcott over Gareth Bale. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what as well? Was he on the left? I'm sure he was. A player always respected. I'm trying to cheap out because I'm stuck. I'm trying to cheap out and I'm making it obvious.
Big up, Terry.
I always liked Damien Duff, man. I thought he was awesome for Chelsea.
Okay.
I thought he was Alexis Sanchez. I'm just trying to swerve away from Arsenal, Abhijit, as best as I can because
that's a heater right there, Ahmed Stoichkov. That's a heater right there.
He's coming with the haymaker.
Yeah.
He's coming with
That's
a haymaker. Was Pavel Nedved predominantly on the left?
yeah. I hated that motherfucker.
I liked him up until the Ballon d'Or when Henri got robbed, and I just thought, you fucking blonde, long-haired freak, you fucking arsewipe. You know what I mean? Instantaneously, I thought, you're a wanker.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, the funny thing is that he wasn't even the most important player for Lazio that year. You could easily argue that Veron, Mihailovic, or Diego Simeone were the more important players for that Lazio team with the way that they played over him. You know, same with Roberto Mancini when he was still playing as a striker with that team as well. Nedved, he was good. I've always said this. I think Pavel Nedved is one of the most overrated players in my opinion. I think one, you know, everyone tries to hype him up for the Lazio and winning the Ballon d'Or, which he should have never won. Thierry Henry got robbed of that Ballon d'Or. He never
massively.
Nedved should have never
robbery, not ribbery, robbery.
Yeah. Robert. Yeah. But it's just, I just never saw what everybody else saw with Pavel Nedved. I really didn't. I've been watching Serie A my whole life. Never saw what the huge hype was about him. I thought he had good games. I thought Nedved was one of those players where he could have 2-3 games in a row where he was awesome and then have 7 straight where he was mediocre at best. Never saw what everybody saw in him. Like if you put a gun to my head, I'm taking Robert Pires over him any day of the week. I think Robert Pires doesn't get the respect he deserves when you talk about like wingers. And I think Robert Pires is levels above Pavel Nedved. I think Pavel Nedved is very, very overrated.
Do you know what? And I will argue this until I'm blue in the face, mate. I will argue it until the cows come home. In 2002, maybe give or take a year. Now you call. Maybe give or take a year. In 2002, Robert Pires was the best left winger, left midfielder in the 4-4-2, whatever you want to call it. He was the best in the world at that stage. Not throughout, the entire sort of Premier League era. He weren't. But at that sort of stage, 2002, 03, 01, there or thereabouts, when he was finding his feet, obviously. I just didn't. I don't think there was a better left winger than him. He was unbelievable. Some of the goals that he scored was just world class. The play, the link up that he had with Ashley Cole and Thierry Henry was obviously a massive part of that left hand side. Probably in again, give or take, in them couple of years around 01, 02, 03, probably the best left hand side in Europe. Ashley Cole, Robert Pires, and Thierry Henry on that left hand side. I mean, you'll do well to beat that. I mean, they were unbelievable. And Bobby Pires was an unbelievable bit of that. Some of the goals he scored, the cheeky one against, was it Aston Villa against Schmeichel with a lob? He dinks it over. What's this?
I believe it's the Aston Villa goal.
He dinks it over his head and just fucks him off and then lobs Schmeichel. Just the Anfield goal, for 2-1. The screamer right in the top. Well, when you need someone, you need a moment. In them tight games that are 0-0 and 1-1 at that time in that game against Liverpool, when you just think, all right, we could be playing here for the next 2, 3, 4 hours and it's going to still stay 1-1. But that moment, that magic, you want someone to step up. And who's going to do it? Bobby Pires. He stepped up time and time again. I loved him. I absolutely loved him. But he was one of who's top 3 favorite players for me. I mean, this guy there is number 1, and the geezer to the right is number 2.
So you chose Damien Duff as your left winger.
I'm gonna go for a bit of Damien Duff. Do you know? Let's throw a curveball in there. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna have a little bit of Duff in there. I thought he was good, man.
I thought Damien Duff was damn good.
Joe Cole was another good little shout when he came. I know he played more at the left for England, but he was another really good player in the Premier League.
Cole, we always used to joke that Joe Cole was born somewhere else and he was raised in England because back the old Italians weren't ready to see that there was another league on the rise to compare to where the Serie A was at. And the Premier League that's when I really started getting in the Premier League. And Joe Cole Joe Cole, Recalba, and Zola were like three of my favorite players to watch when I was a kid, and then Perez, Robert Perez as well. Those Perez, Zola, Recalba, Cole, and then as much as he was a scumbag going to United, I loved Robin van Persie. I loved Robin van Persie. I can't lie. He was my guy, man. He was my guy. I wish he would have stayed. I wish we would have kept him when we signed all the other players with Podolski, because we would have walked the league that year. If we'd have kept him with Podolski and everybody we got at that period, we would have smashed the league. That it was heartbreaking to see him go.
To Man United, man.
Yeah,
go to Juventus. They offered a few quid less, granted, but was it worth the extra 8-10 million to give him a guard of honor the next year for Man United? Probably not. But again, he was unbelievable. Do you know what?
Yeah,
do you know what pisses me off about the Robin van Persie thing? Right. So I actually do get. I hated that he went to Man United, and I hate him for it. But I do respect, from a professional and footballing point of view, that he was also not met. Like his ambitions, weren't met. Like, he was not a spring chicken, not an old geezer, but not a spring chicken. And he did have obviously ambitions of winning the Premier League. And he probably did say, or I think he did, not probably, say, Arsenal, Arsene Wenger, what we doing here? Are we investing? What's the aims here? And they didn't match his ambition. So I appreciate that he's a winner. I appreciate that he wanted to go to a Manchester United team. We were the best team in the country at the time. I get that. However, then whilst I'm happy to say that, it has to be appreciated that, fuck you, you've still gone to Man United, you prick.
Yeah.
You could have won the league in Italy or in Spain or anywhere else. You still went there. And two, okay, he's not an Arsenal fan. His dad didn't make him support Arsenal as a kid. But one thing I do disrespect about Van Persie in that moment, and it can be debated what I'm about to say or not, it's cool. Everyone's got their own opinion. But we stuck through that boy thick and thin when he was getting injuries left, right, and centre every single season. Every single season, we was giving him the dose, still sticking by him. And it was only really the last year or two for his Arsenal career that he actually stayed somewhat fit. And it coincided with them being the best seasons he had for Arsenal. Now, that was obviously natural development and, of course, staying fit. But when I also sit there from a fan's perspective, not his perspective, but from a fan's, and I'm like, bro, like, we've looked after you for 8 years. You've been injured all the time. It might not be your own fault, but still, we've had the loyalty to you for 8 years. At least if you're going to leave, don't go to Man United. Just have some sort of loyalty back. And that I won't ever forgive him for. I won't ever. It doesn't matter the opinion that someone gives me back, as compelling as it may be. You've gone to Man United and we stuck by you, and you didn't stick by us in that. And for you, fuck you.
I hear it.
But yeah, I'm also not stupid enough, G, to appreciate that he was an unbelievable footballer. He would have been probably more highly regarded if he'd have stayed fit and had them levels for a lot longer. But towards the latter stages of his career, the last 2-3 seasons for Arsenal and Manchester United, world class. It's as simple as that. Well,
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I have the same feeling towards Higuain when he packed up and left Napoli to go to Juventus, especially. And the thing was we were on the rise with Higuain, and he decided to pack up because he just didn't want to do hard work. He just didn't want to do the hard work of bringing a team that was building itself up into eventually now what you see Napoli as. He didn't want to stay there for the hard work. He wanted the easy way out to go to Juventus. And I 100% hear that. The only reason why I look at it differently from my perspective with Van Persie is that it's two massive clubs. He's leaving. Obviously, Manchester United is Arsenal's biggest rival. Tottenham is just tribal because of a locality, but compared to Arsenal, Tottenham's nowhere near the same level as we are. So the thing is that with Van Persie, I understood why he went to United, because he probably wanted to stay in England, and it was the fact that he wanted to win the Premier League. how he went about it was dog shit. I
Yeah.
still to this day disagree that you went to United, but at the same time, for you to be at a big club and you realize that this big club doesn't have the same ambitions that you do, I understood why he went to United from that
Yeah.
perspective. It's still a fuck you, like I said,
Yeah.
because of the fact that it's United, it's your biggest rival. For Higuain to go to Napoli, you knew what you were coming into at Napoli, leaving Real Madrid. You know, everybody. The funny thing about Napoli is everybody goes, "Oh, you're the fourth biggest team in Italy, fan base wise." Yeah, but we're not top four when it comes to money. And if we're being honest, up until the new ownership of the new ownership with De Laurentiis, we've always been a small club. You know, we happen to have the greatest player, in my opinion, in the history of football, in Maradona, choose us. That gave us the history that everybody knew us for that. But now the new ownership is writing a new chapter of history for this team, and we're growing as a club. And
Yeah.
and you know, for Higuain, you chose Napoli because of the connection with the Argentinians, because of all the Argentinian players we've had over the years.
Past, yeah.
But you know our hatred for Juventus. You just chose to go there because you didn't want to put in the hard work to try to help build a smaller club into what it is. And so I 100% get what you're saying with Van Persie.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay.
Yeah, it's a killer, isn't it? It
Yeah.
just is. You know, first off, you know, it's cool that we can look at it, you know, and take our emotions aside and go, yeah, I appreciate why he's done that.
Mhm.
But man, football's emotion, man, you know, and yeah, when we sort of take away the professional sort of aspect of talking about it, dude, I didn't want him to go to Manchester United, and it not broke my heart, but it was a hard watch.
Like a stab in the back.
Him.
It's like a stab in the back because of exactly what you said. Yep.
Yeah, it weren't nice. It weren't nice, you know, and like I said, that's why I love talking to you guys. You know, we can all actually take things aside. We can put emotions to the side and talk, you know, talk properly about things. But yeah, the fan in me, don't want to listen to that side of me. It says, "Go away, Aaron, mate. What are you talking about? He's gone to Man United, Aaron, for crying out loud."
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck them.
Painful.
All right. So now we got our wingers out of the way. Who do you got for your two center mids? This is going to get interesting now.
See,
I like your team. I like your team, though. I like your team.
I've already said this guy, yeah, and it pains me again because he played for Tottenham, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's Van der Vaart, yeah. Like I've always liked him. And do you know what as well? Why I liked him most is because he was bargains for every single club he signed for. When he went, I think it might have been the 2010 or the 11 winter window when he went to Tottenham. It was there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Give or take a year. They signed him from Madrid in the winter for 10 million quid. 10 million quid.
He'd be a 50, 60 million dollar player right now, at least.
Unbelievable. And again, you know, I've always quite like Hamburg. He was wicked. You know what I mean? Everywhere he's gone, he's displayed that. And the way he talks, he don't take shit. You know, he speaks his mind. He's a player you want in the locker room. Do you know what I mean? Or in the changing room here in England. Do you know what I mean? You're giving your American influence on me in the locker room.
Yeah.
You know, he's a winner. All right, he went to Spurs, so you know by definition he's a loser. But you kind of get what I'm saying. I've never seen maybe an opposition signing, not that came straight from us to another club, that pissed me off more than when Van der Vaart went to Tottenham from Real Madrid, especially for 10 million. It sticks in my head because I just always rated him. And he's a moments player as well. You know, what ping he had on him. And he scored against us a couple of times with a couple of long-range efforts. You know, he's that player that can do something out of nothing. A 0-0 game. He can put it, he can score a screamer. He can do something. He can change the game. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to stay away from saying the Zidanes because it's too easy.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
I've geeked out in the centre backs and at the beginning of it. So, you know, I've got a good striker as well off the cuff that I've always enjoyed. But we'll get to that, you know.
Okay,
we'll get to that.
We got Van der Vaart as the
But
first
yeah,
one.
Van der Vaart.
Who's your other center mid?
Well, do you
Who's
know
your-
what I'm sitting like? I did say Diaby, like a little bit earlier, and I think for the integrity of it, and considering you said it, I think I'll stick with him. Obviously, there's and I'll stick with him on the basis of I'd pay to just see him fit. Like,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
reckon, like I said earlier, without
He'd
repeating
have changed
myself,
he'd have changed
yeah,
a lot of Arsenal's fortunes had he stayed fit. That was
yeah,
the position that
100%.
killed Arsenal for so many
Yeah,
years, was not having
yeah,
a defensive midfielder. It was
yeah,
too it was unbelievable to watch when it worked, but when it didn't
yeah,
work, it was so revealing that the six was the biggest problem with
yeah,
Arsenal not having, not getting more further in the league of winning titles or even challenging for other titles and everything
yeah.
else.
Because
So
with that, Wenger wanted to do the Barcelona 2.0, small players in the midfield, but he forgot to give us a Busquets. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly.
He done all the little players, the Rosicki's, the Hlebs, the Nasri's, the Fabregases and co. But he left us with Flamini or Alex Song. Alex
Yeah.
Song on his day could be half decent, but you didn't need that shit. You needed a beast of a central midfielder, one of them that can take the scruff of the neck, a physical guy, and we just didn't have that. It was such a big gaping flaw and a hole in Arsenal's midfield. You didn't even need to be a football fan to go, yeah, Arsenal are a little bit light in the midfield. They're getting bullied in games.
Yep.
We were being taken the piss out of by a somewhat physical side, not even a strong physical side. We had no chance against strong physical sides.
Yep.
It was so obvious what we needed, and we just went, "Now we'll just give you another 4'9" little guy like me, team midget." You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. He gave the Barcelona light without the Busquets. Barcelona, maybe they would have the talent they had in that midfield, by the way. They probably still would have won stuff. But you need a Busquets in there to help the Iniestas and the Javis. Let them, you need someone that will shield them, to let them knit their passes, let them weave their magic. Sometimes you need a little bit of protection to allow them to do that. Now, they'd have still done it largely anyway because they were unbelievable players. But you need that geezer.
Just really quick, we got to give out to our guy. Big up Suge. Big up Suge, my guy. Appreciate you stopping in, my guy. Appreciate you stopping
Big
in.
up, Suge. Hope you're good, my friend.
Yeah.
Hope you're really doing good, brother. We love a bit of Suge.
Yeah, we love Suge. He's
what a geezer.
Who's your biggest ever Judas, Cole or RVP? I'm going to say RVP because it's Arsenal to United. For me.
Do you know what? Yes.
RVP.
I can't argue with that logic, Gianni. You're right. It hurt a lot more because it was United. But Ashley Cole was very, very, very soon after our successful era. So that Arsenal team that Van Persie started flourishing in, and when he left to Manchester United, they were getting beaten 8-2 at Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean? They were losing finals to Birmingham. When Ashley Cole left, he left an unbelievable Arsenal squad that
he did
really, really hurt. And Chelsea being London as well weren't fantastic. But yeah, I'll only lean to Cole purely because he also got sustained success at Chelsea. RVP, he was a little bit older, obviously, in his career. He didn't win as much there at Man United. It may have only been the one league title. I don't know. Maybe they won something a year after. But I know he didn't, go on to win multiple honours. Whereas Cole won everything multiple times. That was not a nice thing to watch, man. That was also coincided with the breakdown of the Invincible squad, and that Invincible squad went so fast. I know some of them were aging a little bit, but it just seemed like we'd gone invincible. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, Thierry Henry wants to leave. Patrick Vieira's gone. Bobby Perez has gone to Villarreal. Campbell's going AWOL, and he wants to go to Notts County. You've got Cole that's shot off. Lehman's lost his nut and decided to go. Lauren's retired, or all of a sudden Lundberg's gone to West Ham, and you're thinking,
Yep.
man, this team were dominating. Well, not dominating, but they're one of the best teams assembled. You know what I mean? There or thereabouts in 04 and 06. And you're like, where the fuck are they all?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I'm only saying Van Persie because of the fact that it's United. If you were going to ask me what hurts more, I'd honestly say Cole hurts more, because Cole, for better or for worse, I think Ashley Cole was the best left back in the world for a very good period of time when he was with Chelsea. And so I would say, on the basis of, because of the rivalry, Van Persie is the bigger one, but it probably hurts more that it's Cole, because Cole, I mean, I saw old man Ashley Cole when he left and came to Rome, and he was locking up the best winger still in Italy at the time. And I mean, yeah, the Serie A wasn't the same thing, but Ashley Cole was unfucking believable. I mean, Ashley Cole, Ashley Cole, man, from 03 to probably maybe 6-7 years, from maybe 03 to like 2000.
Definitely in the tens. Definitely still in the tens.
Man,
no.
like he
definitely.
He went. When does he leave Chelsea? He leaves Chelsea in after the 2013-14 season, or is it earlier than that?
I'm just thinking, was he still there when Jose come? I think Jose Mourinho, did he come back in that?
Yeah.
In the season? I think he might have come back in the 12-13 or the 13-14 season, because Ferguson won his last one, and then Jose Mourinho and won it in his second season. He won the League Cup and the league in his second season as opposed to his first. And I think that was after Alex Ferguson's last one. So I think he might have come back to Chelsea in Alex Ferguson's last thing. I think that was 12-13. And I'm trying to think, was he still part of that squad? I think he might have
13.
been.
I'm trying to think. Okay, hold on. Chelsea beats Benfica for the Europa League title the year after they won the Champions League. I'm
just trying to think age as well, because I'm sure it'd have been early to mid 20s when he left Arsenal.
Yeah.
Early to mid. You know, we're not talking about Giza, that's 28. I'm sure he was 25, give or take.
He wasn't there.
So you're thinking in 04.
Abjit, no, he's right. He's right. Shout out Abjit. He's right. Because you know what? Azpilicueta was the one who replaced him when Jose came back. He had Azpilicueta replace him.
He
left because of Azpilicueta. That was when he went to Rome. So he was probably with Chelsea 2013-14 and then left to go to Rome afterwards, because he was in Rome for like 3 years. And even as an older guy, man, he was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome. He was only there for 2 years. I think he cut his contract early because then he went to the MLS.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he actually from 03, I would say from 03 to probably about 2011, 2012, he was the best left back in the world for majority of that period. I mean, I'm taking him over Jordi Alba, especially because I'm more concerned about the defensive side. Alba was fantastic going forward, but I'm taking Ashley Cole over Jordi Alba.
All round, 100%. Yeah. Look, Jordi Alba, like you said, fantastic going forward. Not horrendous going backwards. Ashley Cole had it all. He had it.
I remember when he went to Chelsea, the battles that him and Ronaldo used to have when Ronaldo was still playing right wing for United. That was one of the best defensive player versus offensive player matchups you could see was Ashley Cole versus Cristiano Ronaldo at the time. So yeah, man,
Especially obviously them times as well coincides with Roberto Carlos obviously getting a little bit old. Do you know what I mean? So obviously you'd, for the 10 years maybe prior to the 03, maybe a couple of years as well before that, I don't know, you'd say Roberto Carlos because that was his years. Do you know what I mean?
Roberto Carlos and before he switched to a center back, definitely Paolo Maldini. before Maldini switched to a center back. I mean, listen,
Unbelievable.
For me, Maldini's the greatest left back of all. I think he's the best defender, period, because he won titles as a center back. He won titles as a left back. I think he's just the pure greatest defender. For left back, yeah. I mean, if you were to make a quick short list of the 10 greatest left backs, Ashley Cole's in that list. He's definitely
100% of all time. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. It's criminal if he's not. He's probably even closer in the top 5 than the top 10, you know.
This is a good one from the doc. Shout out the doc. Keep, bench, sell. Ashley Cole, Marcelo, Maldini. Maldini's keep. Yeah. Bench is Cole, sell is Marcelo.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Like that is right. Like you said, Maldini was unbelievable.
Nothing but class.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And you know, the fact as well, he transitioned into a different position. It was all about how well he read the game. He didn't rely on the pace. He was just unbelievable. I'm not saying he was a slow geezer, but you don't have to have pace when you know where to stand. And he was just, he just IQ of reading the game through the roof. I mean, it burst out the roof. You know what I mean? And into the stars, man. He was unbelievable. Yeah, Ash Cole definitely on the bench. I'd say that was fair. I don't think many people would disagree with that, to be fair. Yeah. I don't think Marcelo, even though he was good, I don't think he was ever considered the best of the generation.
I wouldn't put him.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas Ashley Cole and Roberto Carlos, you're looking and going, they were generational left backs. Marcelo, no. Good, but
he was good. He was good because Philipp Lahm. Me personally, I'm taking Philipp Lahm over Marcelo because Lahm's a better defender and he could still get down offensively as well. You know, I'm not with the whole crazy offensive fullback shit. I prefer somebody who can do both, and Ashley Cole and Maldini could do both. He was Lahm originally was a right back. They moved him to left back at different times and played inverted.
He's been everywhere, and Lahm.
Yeah, he played when Guardiola was the manager and they played that 3-5-2. He was the number 6 for a period of time as well. So
just gonna say,
I mean, Lahm for me. I'm taking Lahm over Marcelo. I think Marcelo gets a lot of praise and rightly so because of how he played with that Madrid team. But when you stack him against the other left backs, I don't think Marcelo is as good as a lot of people try to make him out to be. I think Philipp Lahm is somebody who doesn't get the praise he deserves, in my opinion.
He was awesome, man.
All right,
again. So you
got Diaby and Van der Vaart. All right, I'm going to go a little bias here. I'm going to go with Patrick Vieira as my midfielder to go with this, but his partner is somebody who I also don't think gets a lot of praise. He was unbelievable in Italy. He got sold from Real Madrid because he wasn't as good as Madrid, but at Inter he was awesome. I'm going to go with Esteban Cambiaso to sit next to Patrick.
Another Inter boy,
yeah, man. Inter. I told you, man. If it's not Napoli, Inter was my team when Napoli was in the lower divisions because I'm never rooting for Milan or Juve. Too much hatred there.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Too much hatred there. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Cambiaso and Vieira in the middle together. And then this is where it's gonna get interesting because you got 2 strikers. I have a number 10 who I think is gonna catch you by surprise who I put in this team. So let's go with you. Who you choosing for the strikers? You going with the Arsenal?
I'm going to give you one striker. I'm going to give you one, yeah, and you'll appreciate it. I desperately want to give these 2 because I would pay to see these 2 again because they were unbelievable, club and country. I mean, come on, man.
Real quick, hold on. Yeah. RSV Zanetti was better as a right back than he was as a left back. He could play both positions and he could play in the midfield too. Again, Ashley Cole, as far as pure left back, is better than Zanetti. Javier Zanetti's best position was right back because if you remember, especially the Inter team that won the treble, Christian Kivu was playing as an inverted left back and would come in, and Zanetti was playing a lot more in the middle with Cambiaso because they had Maicon on the team, who Maicon was a shout because at Inter he was an animal. Manchester City
until Bale destroyed his career.
Yeah. Yeah. Bale took him to the fucking shit.
He was never right after that.
No,
After
no,
that second half, when he scored the hat trick, he just was not the same right back after that.
yeah. Yeah. Dejan Stankovic is a shout too. He was a good player. All right, so we'll get back. Your two strikers. I'm interested for this.
I'm giving you one at first. I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
And he was a Premier League player and a player that didn't play for Arsenal. Massively. And when people say about strikers, I feel like he gets left out a lot. Every goal that he scored was just unbelievable. The technique, sublime. Matt Letizia, man. I would pay to see that guy all day.
You
all
took
day.
my
I'm
guy.
putting Tiss. Oh, did I? Yeah.
That was my guy who I was going to say I would catch you off guard with.
Unbelievable. Like that guy. Look, I'd have just loved. I respect that he stayed. You know what I mean? I respect that he stayed. I would have loved to see what it'd have been like taking that next step. You know, going to a Manchester United or you know, maybe an Arsenal. Maybe not that we sort of needed him in them sort of areas because we had Wrighty, then we had it Henry's the Anelkas straight away. But I'd have loved to have just seen him take that next step and see what he could have done, challenging for titles, playing in Europe. Do you know what I mean? I respect that he stayed with Southampton, you know what I mean, all day long. But I mean, when you're talking about technique, finishing, some of the things that he done, almost unreplicated. Tell me a scrappy Matt Letizia goal.
Yeah, man.
No, you can't name one because they just all flew in the top corners and they were chips. He had absolute everything. Like technique, eat your heart out. That guy, man, he was phenomenal, man. And yeah, I'd pay to see him again in a heartbeat, man. I'll be like, look, listen, I want to see some fucking top bins goals here, Tiss. A few cheeky little chips, and you'd get it from him. You'd never get a. He was just fantastic, man. I've always rated him. I've always liked him. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Tiss. And apparently I've nicked one of yours as well. Yeah,
that's who I was gonna have as my number 10. So I'm gonna switch this up. Who do I want as a number 10? Who do I want as a number 10? I'm gonna change my team. Well, first of all, with what RSV said, Susan Mandela told troops if Trezeguet played in the EPL at the same time as Henry, Trezeguet would have eclipsed him because of playing it. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think David Trezeguet, if you remember, David Trezeguet wasn't even breaking into the Juve team in the later parts because Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Del Piero was 10 times the duo that it was with Del Piero and Trezeguet, man. Trezeguet was a good player, but I'm not putting him over Thierry Henry. I appreciate Trezeguet was a fantastic player for Juventus. Don't get me wrong, but he's not better than Thierry Henry. Not even close, in my opinion. Trezeguet was a fantastic footballer, but he's not on the level of Henry.
And do you know what as well to second that point in a sort of like era where there was some unbelievable, fantastic strikers. I mean, talent in general going forward, but strikers. Henry was still at one stage best in class.
Yeah.
You know, probably for 3 years, I think's fair. Probably the best striker / player on the planet. You know, you can't say the same about Trezeguet. So when you sort of look at it from that logic, it's just Henry on his day was unplayable, and his day weren't just a day; it was usually a season. You know, he just tortured players. I think from 02, 03, 04, probably not a better striker in the world. You know, you could maybe argue Shevchenko was good for AC. You know. But not on Henry.
I'm not taking Shevchenko over Thierry Henry, if I'm being honest with you. If you were to play the game of swap and you swapped Shevchenko with Thierry Henry, AC Milan's an even more dangerous powerhouse than what it was with Shevchenko. And I love Shevchenko, don't get me wrong, but I think Thierry Henry, man, Thierry Henry, just for me, it's. I just think that he is Shevchenko. First of all, Henry, I think, proved himself even more when he went to Barcelona, was playing more of the left wing. and had to adapt. I don't think Shevchenko could adapt to a different position, number one. Number two, Henry could do it on his own where Shevchenko can't. And that was shown at his time at Chelsea. You know, Shevchenko was getting sitter after sitter, was scoring a lot of good goals, but let's all remember who he had around him at that time with that Milan team. I mean, that Milan team was so stacked, it was ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry. I love Arsenal. Arsenal is my second team to Napoli, but let's be real here. Player for player, that AC Milan team might have a couple better players than what Arsenal had, if we're being honest with ourselves. Yeah. So Henry for me is just Henry is in that same category for me. Henry gets put more in the conversations with the likes of a Marco van Basten, with the likes of a Ronaldo Fenomeno for me, in my opinion, than he does with the next level of guys down than that. And that's why I think Trezeguet for me, he can't be talked about in the same.
Yeah. He's not in that team.
Yeah,
he's not. He's maybe in the tier with the likes of a Patrick Kluivert, who I really thought Patrick Kluivert was unbelievable. But in an era where there was phenomenal strikers, even that step down still fantastic. Do you know what I mean? The step down from, if you're just a step down from Thierry Henry, you're an unbelievable striker still.
Absolutely.
Especially in that era. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he was in that next little bracket when he Trezeguet. Yeah, it's still a good bracket, but you know, block with the Van Nistelrooy's, great striker, you know, predator.
Yeah.
You know, he was a good finisher, you know, in that bracket, just not on Henry's level.
Yeah.
You know, don't mean to say he was a bad striker, you know, but just not there.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
What do you feel about go on, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say to this for RSV, for me, people may think I'm crazy for saying this. I humbly disagree with this. I think Roberto Baggio was an absolute baller. Don't get me wrong. However, what Totti did at Rome is not comparable for Baggio, in my opinion. Maybe it's a more recency bias. I think Baggio is a very good player, world-class player for majority of his career. But Totti, to be a kid from Rome, I think maybe just the story. For me, I'm taking Totti over Baggio in my personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. It's got nothing to do with the fact that Baggio skied the penalty in '94 against Brazil. It has nothing to do with that. I'm not holding that against him. He was a fantastic player all around the board, and he made his bones when the Serie A was by far the best league in the world. There's nothing taken away from that. He was so important to Juventus in '94, '95 when they did the double. But for me, when you look at the size difference of a club of where Rome is compared to Juventus or Milan, when Baggio is there, it's night and day. And what Totti was able to do with that Rome team was just unbelievable. Now, granted, the Rome team was stacked. There's no getting around that. But every team in Italy was stacked at that time frame. So for me, I have to humbly disagree and say Totti is better than Baggio. I would say that Del Piero and Baggio is the better comparison. But even then, I don't know if I'm going to choose Baggio over Del Piero. That's my humble opinion. I do appreciate Baggio a lot, but Del Piero and Totti are of the same ilk. Totti's definitely better, but Del Piero and Baggio, I think, is the better comparison. I don't think Baggio is better than Totti, in my opinion. Who do I want to switch? You know what? Fuck it. To replace Letizia, I'm going to throw since we just brought him up, I'm going to put Francesco Totti as my number 10 on my team. I even though he played for one of my biggest rivals to Napoli, and I hate Rome. Don't get me wrong, I hate Rome. Can't stand Rome. Francesco Totti, what he used to do on a week in and week out was absolutely ridiculous. First of all, he loved the far. One of the reasons why I think Totti is better than Baggio is if you watch Totti's compilation of goals, Totti, for some reason, loves to go far corner. If the ball's on his left foot and the goalie's coming out and he's on the left side, he knows how to tuck it in on that far right corner and low. Not even just high, just low. And I just think Totti's finishing ability is a number 10. Everybody remembers him as the strike. A lot of people remember him as a striker or the false nine for Rome and everything else. That front three of Vincenzo Montella, Batistuta, and Totti that won the Scudetto that year was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I just think Totti, for me, man, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves because he never left Rome, because he was a one club man. But man, Totti, I had the privilege of seeing him twice in a Napoli Rome game. I got to see him when we smoked Rome 4-1 in 2013. It was an awesome game because Totti was the only one who showed up for Rome at that time period, for the time period in that game. But just class, man, just class. So I'm to replace Matt Letizia, since you got him. I'll take Totti. I'll take Totti.
It's not a bad swap, mate. Yeah, it's not a bad swap. Yeah.
I thought I was going to catch you off guard with Matt Letizia because I just think Letizia.
Great mind.
Letizia. Well, see, the thing is, Letizia and Totti are very similar. If Letizia would have left Southampton and went to an Arsenal or a Man U or a Liverpool, who knows? Who knows how even much higher and how even more regarded Letizia is? But that's also the cool thing. The mystique about him staying and being so important for Southampton just also shows the class. And it's the same thing like with Totti, staying at Rome, seeing them win the Scudetto, seeing Coppa Italias and everything else, having a smaller team fight against the big teams, and that's just, I think it's just a mystique about that with players that I think sometimes they don't get the respect they deserve in certain things.
Yeah,
and both Mavericks, absolutely true with that.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So
100. A dying breed. Almost extinct.
Thank God for Cesc Fabregas at Como getting the best out of Nico Paz. Because he's hopefully, you know what? Hopefully he re-revolutionizes the sport. I think that's the biggest problem with football today is there are no more Mavericks. The number 10 position has basically been destroyed because of the system bullshit where they want somebody, we want you to be box to box, but at the same time of being box to box, we want you to have that extra creative spark and everything else. And it's like, man, most kids wanted to be a number 10. That's what the dream was.
Yeah.
You were the guy that you were the center of the attack. You were the play creator. You found the pass. You were either the person that gave the pass that led to the assist or you got the assist.
Yeah. But you created that to make the assist easy for the other guy. Yeah.
And you created some, and you had flair about you. You were the guy that made people stand up and get out of their seats, so to speak. And they all had abilities to scoring goals. And it's just we've lost that capability in football because of this. It's just, Mesut Ozil, James Rodriguez, those guys were the last of the 10s. They were phased out of the way that the game is played nowadays.
It's been killed by work rate at the expense of magic.
Absolutely.
It's been killed by that. No, I'd rather you put the hard yards in rather than you produce a moment of absolute magic. Do you know what I mean? You're there, roam around, have a free roll. You'll do something because you're a special player. Now you've got to run back and cover your left back, or you've got to double up with your number 6. I don't want my number 10 to do that. I want him to be the laziest player on the pitch as long as he can ping that pass, thread the ball through the eye of the needle, or ping it in the top corner. I couldn't give a toss what he does defending. You're not there for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's been destroyed.
Absolutely. They've been destroyed. I mean, look at I could have used him as the number 10 too, I'll say. But look at his time at Milan, Kaká. Kaká never got involved in the defense. But you put that ball up top, he's going to outrun your ass. He's going to dribble you. I mean, still to this day, one of my favorite goals is the goal he scores against Manchester United.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, Champions League. Was it
when he made them run into each other?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He ran the show, bro. Kaká, yeah. And again, what Milan team. Yeah, he was unbelievable. Yeah. That's That's the difference. Number 10. Now that's what wins you games.
Mhm.
That's what gets you over the line against Manchester United sides. You
Yeah.
know, it was a competitive game, but you had moments of magic from players that can produce that. From Kakas, when he leads the press from up top. Yes,
Absolute bullshit.
it's bollocks, isn't it? It's bollocks. When you've got an entire fan base saying Martin Odegaard is a creative spark, number 10's definitely dead at Arsenal. I know that for a fact.
Martin Odegaard,
It is globally, but
Martin Odegaard couldn't get into the top 35, 40 all-time number 10s if we had to have a conversation about it. And if we really dive deep, Martin Odegaard's not even getting into the top 50.
do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember when we signed that Danielson? And
Yeah.
all he done was just
Yeah.
get the ball and pass sideways.
Yeah.
He's just a boy band looking Danielson.
Yep.
That's all he is.
Yep.
NSYNC hair that he flicks every 5 seconds and passes sideways. What else does he do, Martin Odegaard?
No.
Just he destroys any impetus that you've got, any momentum that you've had building up into an attack, or you've got the ball and you think, oh right, well, you know, it could be 4 against 3 here. Martin Odegaard will go, well, actually, I'll just quickly turn around here. Saliba, shall I pass you now? Fuck it. Or shall I go left? Now, what I'll do is I'll go back to Raya just quickly and absolutely kill any form of counter-attack or any build-up play. It just destroys it. To the point now, when he receives the ball, at least in the opposition's half, it might be right next to the halfway line, maybe even by the box. I sit there and I just think, well, it's going nowhere now, is it? As soon as it goes to Odegaard, that's that. The defense and the opposition, they get back into position. We're just like, well, we've made a run and you ain't picked it out. So now fucking our left winger, if he's on the right hand side, now Martinelli or Trossard's offside because they've made the right run and Odegaard's decide not to do it. So now that whole left hand side's devoid of a nice like through ball or anything like that. And then it goes back to the defense. Oh, cheers. That's the way I want to open up a fucking 0-0 match, passing it back to Saliba. Do you know what I mean? That's where football's gone for number 10. Oh, dear God.
Yep.
Oh, dear God. He don't even deserve the number 8.
No, and I'll take it one step further. Do you remember the ball that Dalman put over the top for Gyökeres in the Port Vale game? Where it was one touch. He swung it right over. He swung it right over the defense. Gyökeres was in. I think the goalie either beat him out to it or he missed it. You used to see those type of balls all the time. You know, I've said this on a couple different shows. You know, if Martin Odegaard is this great passer that everybody talks about, you know, why, if we're going to play this 4-2-3-1, why don't we have it to where if the ball goes up and Gyökeres can just win the ball back, give it a quick to Odegaard should just be putting the ball over the top and letting Gyökeres run in.
Yeah.
I mean, how many we used to see 2-3 of those passes every single game back in the day, because that's what was required for a number 10. Facts for Tone. This was one of my other guys.
Yeah,
I read that wrong. Jorginho. Sorry. I thought you meant Juninho from Lyon.
Bruno Combo, I think his name was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I completely. That's a big fuck up on my behalf, misreading that. I thought you said Juninho. Jorginho did have a better passing range than Odegaard. That is,
to be fair, he does.
And again, for those that he could have easily been the number 10 for my team too. Juninho at Lyon was unfucking believable. Again, another magician and maverick. A little bit slower than a lot of other 10s. Didn't score as much, but boy, that man's passing range and creative. Best free kick taker I've ever seen. I know we all love Roberto Carlos's swerves, but Juninho, man, he used to put free kicks in like they were going out of style. He was the
unbelievable man. Yeah. I can't think what team it was against, but I think it was about 40 yards out, and he just rifles it. Obviously, while he was playing for Lyon, it's really annoying me. So I think they had it as like one of the intros to one of the really early FIFAs. Yep. Like I think in the early noughties, maybe, or something like that, and you had to wait for it to load, and they give you like some of the players scoring, and he was in one of his free kicks was in it, and it's just unbelievable. You think, Jesus Christ, he's got that level of power that far out. he could have gone back another 10 yards and it has still gone in the top corner. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like, absolutely ridiculous.
that was my team in the early days of FIFA. That old Lyon team was my team. Always used to choose them. Inter Milan, and Arsenal. Those would be the only three teams that I would choose. And Valencia. When Valencia added Joaquin, and it was Joaquin on the right and Vicente on the left. Those were my four teams that I would play FIFA with. Okay. Nice tone here. Yeah. Nakamura, the Japanese left-footed guy for Celtic, baller, and an awesome free kick taker as well.
I read that very wrong. When I see that Naka, I thought of Hakan Nakata. I don't know why I went there because it don't even remotely look like it. When I looked at Nakamura, I was like, "Oh yeah, he was cool, wasn't he, with the old like the blonde mullet? Don't even look anything like Hakan Nakata." Yeah, you know, I don't know if that was accidental racismo there. I just see that and it just reminded me of him. So yeah, I do apologize. Yeah, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I just went there, Hakan Nakata. Yeah, even players like that, not world class or unbelievable, but unbelievable still, man. You know, some of the players that have gone, and yeah, you said it earlier, and I just seen our RSV right there, Zola, man. I always liked Zola. Always liked Zola. I thought he was unbelievable. The goal against Norwich and all, man. Come on.
Zola, the front three for Napoli, the second Scudetto was Zola, Maradona, and Careca. They were unbelievable playing together.
What joke. What joke, man. That is unbelievable.
Ciao, buonanotte, tutto calcio. This is a good one, too. Bergkamp, Zola, or Cantona?
I'm sticking with my boy, man. I'm sorry. It's biased for me for Arsenal. It's purely because as well, you know, I can appreciate the latter two. Zola was unbelievable. Cantona was phenomenal. But I mean, Dennis,
I'm taking Bergkamp over the two of them, but now I don't know if it's. I don't know. That's the thing now. I'm trying not to have Italian bias towards Zola, especially because he won with Napoli.
But well, Bergkamp played for Inter, so I mean, you've gone for basically 3/4 of Inter teams. So you might as well.
Bergkamp's the best out of these three. It's now trying to figure out. I'm probably going to have to go with Cantona. Cantona is probably the second one, and then Zola would be third. But I do love Gianfranco Zola. Again, another player of mine that I loved watching. He's somebody I would pay to see.
Yeah, and like, I know it sounds silly, but likable as a player. Like, I've never liked Chelsea, but I liked him because he played football the right way. He weren't a prick in general anyway. He was just a likable footballer as well as an unbelievably good footballer. You know, he's quite easy to be endeared to. You know what I mean? He was just unbelievable, man. Yes. Oh, I've always rated Zola, man. I could sit much, lyrical about that. He was fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a shame he played for Chelsea. But I'm privileged he played in the Premier League because I got to watch him. Do you know what I mean? It's fantastic, man. And anyone growing up in that era, you know, you want to play like a professional footballer, then you know Zola's one of the guys you got to be looking at.
Yeah, man.
Majestic, man. Yeah, really quality. I mean, Cantona, if you want to do jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean, or you know something like that, maybe he can teach you a flying kick or two. Just don't eat any of his what was it, the prawn, or was it sardine sandwiches he'd come out in his yeah. You know, he had a screw loose, but it was still unbelievable. Do you think
recency bias is worse than nostalgia bias? Because I'm hearing outrageous takes like Foden is as talented as Rooney.
Never.
Really? I disagree because I think a nostalgia bias. See, here's the problem. I think if you took the time out to go and watch football across the board, from at least 15 to 20 years ago, the football as a whole for me is better. I'm sorry. I think the football as a whole is better. The way I want to watch football nowadays. Everything it's going to come out weird how I'm going to say this, but now it's more about being an athlete than being an actual footballer. Nowadays, guy when you look at guys who they consider good as far as like wingers or stuff like that, the best wingers have a good first step and have pace to where they're going to take off away from you. But a lot of these guys nowadays don't have the technical ability that a lot of players had back in the day. There's a lot of players who didn't play at big clubs, that stayed at smaller clubs, but had unbelievable capabilities, and they weren't the quickest. There was a lot of wingers where you didn't need to be that quick. If you had touch on the ball and had very good control, you could be a top winger. Nowadays, you can't have that. It's all about pace. The game is so fast nowadays that it's more so being about an athlete that has less technical ability than what it was back then. Back then, the technical ability is much better than what we see nowadays, at least in my opinion. The balls back then didn't have the grip. You look at some of these Nike balls, you look at some of these Adidas balls, it's the all that has gone on is that it's trying to make it even easier for the player to make up for the lack of technical ability. And it's also because of the fact that all these managers want to just do the system shit, instead of just allowing the players to be able to put their own emphasis onto the game. And that's where I think we're missing a lot from the game nowadays. What I will say is sports science nutrition have improved and the game is more system-based. So we don't know if those players would have adapted to this era, but I think they could with the right. Yeah, but that's the thing. If you're adapting to the era, the era has been adapted because a lot of managers cannot handle players of that ability anymore. A lot of the players who were number 10s had massive personalities. We're seeing year in and year out where the massive personalities are dwindling down to where majority of these players, it needs to be all about the manager. We have talks all the time on Aaron's call-in show, on Aaron's OG show, and all the time. The fact that a manager has to get players motivated for big games shows you where the game has gone. Yeah. The Mavericks and everybody else, you're playing for Arsenal, we're playing Manchester United, let's smoke these motherfuckers. That was the belief. That was across the board for every league. Now the manager has to have this huge fucking pep talk to get these guys prepped. No. That's part of the reason why the game has gone to shit, in my personal opinion. A lot of these players that we're talking about with making these teams, you didn't need to get them ready for a game. They knew what time it was. It's for me, I think that's where it's gone down. If the sports science and the nutrition had its way and gotten better for the players of the recent era, but you were allowed to still have Mavericks, who knows where the game would be? The game could potentially be even better because them players could take care of themselves. But you're telling exactly what Tone's saying here. There's too much fucking information. Listen, if these kids made it to a certain level, they got there because they have talent, and you should embrace the talent, not just fucking do this. No. They have to go out and play the game. It is what it is when it comes to that.
Do you know what as well is you're sort of saying about like the motivation side of things, and I make you right. And do you know what the first thing that came to my head was in the '89 documentary, of course the Arsenal one where we went to Anfield and won 2-0. Come on, you Gunners! Mm-hmm. There's a segment in there where Tony Adams was sort of saying Lee Dixon had just sort of signed. Didn't he come from Stoke? I'm sure he came in from Stoke. And it was his first North London derby. And he went up to him and picked him up by the scruff of his neck and threw him against the locker in front of all of his teammates and said, you better fucking play good today. You do realise this is Tottenham. That level of message that got sent out, you don't need to be putting speakers of the Anfield sign out. You just need to make sure that everyone knows this is do or die. This is Tottenham Hotspur. You're not being lackadaisical on this field. This is a massive game for them fans and for us in there. You better play good today. Yep. And that is all lost as well. Do you know what I mean? Could you imagine now? Obviously Odegaard wouldn't do it, but even anyone in general in football now, take as a captain, going up and grabbing someone up in the locker room in the Premier League and going, throwing you around, they'll probably get sued or something like that. Or you've infringed my rights by touching me. You know what I mean? Or ABH, man, just whatever. Like there's times when you need leaders, and that's what I hate as well. That we've moved away from that old school sort of like thing. I understand and appreciate things evolve and move on and change, etc., etc. But that doesn't necessarily mean to say it's for the better. And I just love an old schooly captain like that. It's got too bitchy now, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
And that's for numerous reasons, but yeah, I just like that old school. Yeah, that motivation. Them players knew when we was playing Manchester United, when it was us and them going for the title, we didn't need any motivation. Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson probably didn't even need to. They were, of course, but they probably didn't even need to be in there. Yeah, it's Arsenal today, said Sir Alex. You know what to do. You don't need prepping for this. Look at the tunnel. Look at the tunnel. It spoke for itself. Fights and breaking up because they knew. They didn't need to be told. They knew how important that was. Everything was emotional. That's why it was so feisty, because the players knew what was on the line. It was do or die, and it's gone now. You know, it's on to the next one now. If you lose at home to Manchester United, you get silly emails like I do. Oh, yeah, we'll put that one behind us, on to the next. Yeah, you said that about the draw in the previous game and the one before. Yeah. Stop sending me spam. Like, I'll give you 1,500 quid a year. Stop terrorizing me with stupid fucking emails. Like, stop it. On to the next one. Yeah, I don't need to be told that. How about, instead of sending me stupid that, why don't you just put all your attention into stop fucking drawing every game? And winning the title rather than sending me stupid spam emails. It's all. I know I'm going off topic, but
you're good, man. You're good, man.
Honestly, it frustrates me because there's all little parts of what we've lost. Do you know what I mean? All little parts of it. Just silly little emails. On to the next one. What do you mean on to the next one? Why don't you win the next game and then send me an email going, thank you for your support? Why don't you do that? Rather than trying to prep me to pay again for the next match and telling me that the last performance and the last result was all right. Go away, man. 36 years old. I'm not 16-year-old giddy wanker looking to join a cult. Do you know what I mean? Do me a favor. Like, give me a break, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? On to the next one. How about win the game? How about win the game and stop sending me stupid emails? How about appoint a proper captain? How about do all this? I know I've gone well off topic now. Well, I'm zip. Otherwise, I'm gonna carry on moaning about Arsenal, and this ain't the show for it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah. So all right. So you got Letizia. I put Totti down. Who's your last striker you're putting on, brother?
Can I have some honourable mentions in there as it's the last one?
Absolutely.
Honourable mentions. I always quite like.
We'll make this fun. We'll do your striker. And then we'll do one defender, one midfielder, one winger, and one striker for the bench for honorable mentions. We'll make this fun.
We will definitely do that. However, I will gently remind you I'm fucking getting tired and it's 2 a.m. Yeah. I'm double enjoying it, but I am winding down. I will do that. I'm double enjoying the fucking show, G. You pulled off a belter here. It's nice to not talk about Arsenal until I decide to talk about Arsenal and piss myself off. I digress. Do you know what? I've always kind of liked Diego Tristan. I know he's never been like it's a little curveball, and for Deportivo La Coruña, he was cool, man. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know what I mean. He's the unbelievable striker. I wouldn't have him as my number one choice if you're telling me to put it in. It wouldn't be maybe not anywhere near it. But I just always kind of liked him. I quite liked Deportivo and that squad. They had some good players at the time as well. I even loved it when they knocked Manchester United out the Champions League. You know what I mean? I love that. That was a good Deportivo side. And I always quite liked Diego Tristan. So he was always one of my favourite sort of players. Who was my other little honourable mention? It's gone out my head. I went for a piss 2 minutes ago, and I think I've pissed out all my IQ. I think it's gone down the toilet. Who else is my little? Oh, that's it. We mentioned Gabriel Batistuta. Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. Yeah. Man, if you're talking about striker, he won 17 touches, cut inside. He'd get the ball and either put it in the back of the net with his first touch, or he'd set up the impending strike that probably will go in 2 touches. Max. touched the ball, set himself up, bang, goal. Man, he was unbelievable. I mean, fuck you, Gabriel Batistuta, as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I just saw that on Instagram. They had the reel
Wow.
of when he knocked out Arsenal when he was at Fiorentina. But what a badass goal it was!
and for and England, you know, I don't forget Batistuta, mate. You know, but he was he was quality, wasn't he? He was so good, and you know, I have to. I'm gonna be cheap, and I haven't been cheap with the forward lines, but I've got to go for this guy. I mean, come on, man.
Henry.
I can't. I have to, because I'm sitting there looking around thinking, yeah, there's loads of strikers that we could sort of name, man. But if I could just watch him again just one more time, you know, I'd pay a premium. And do you know what really annoys me to this day, G? I think I'd gone out for a drink the night before, and I was, I mean, when I mean hungover, I mean I can usually fucking hack a good old session with the beersies. I was absolutely rough as anything the next day, and I sacked off the Leeds game. You know, when he came back, I was like, nah. It might have been a Monday, was it? Something's telling me it was. Yeah, I don't know, but either way, yeah, I couldn't be bothered to go. I was so rough, and he produces a moment of magic. He comes on and he scores, and it devastated me. That still to this day, not seeing him come. You know what I mean? In that typical Henry fashion, it was magical, wasn't it? You know, he scores that goal against Leeds from an Alex Song pass, almost like his trademark as well, wasn't it? He kept threading them balls to Van Persie before he fucked off United, and he done it for Thierry Henry, and you know, simple, nice little side foot, open his body up, side netting. Yeah, I'd do anything to see that again, man. Especially when you consider the shit we fucking had at Arsenal over the years. Sort of since, yeah, I'll give anything to see a bit of TT. He's my boy, man. I mean, the guy over there, Bergkamp, was unbelievable. But you know, Thierry Henry won you titles. I know it's harsh on Bergkamp, maybe. He was a significant part in that, by the way. Let's not get that twisted. But Henry, you know, he was the real guy. The RSV as well, David Villa. I really like David Villa. Unbelievable as well. Part of an unbelievable Spanish team. I mean, they had Torres at the time. They had probably the last knock-ins of Raul, David Villa, obviously.
Yeah.
Even to have a Morientes at like fourth choice weren't exactly like the worst. And the worst thing in the world, and I'm sure I'm probably even missing another Spanish striker. I mean, they had some unbelievable players, didn't they, at one stage?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Villa was Villa was a part of that crazy Valencia team. That Valencia team was so good for so long.
Yeah, of course he was from Valencia. Yeah, of course he was. Yeah. David Silva, I think, was there as well. One stage, Mata. Yeah, they had some boys.
Carlos,
didn't they?
The center back too, Carlos Marchena. Marchena was a bad boy center back in the day. That whole Valencia team was fucking unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go with Thierry Henry. I had to adjust.
It's cheap. I'm sorry, but
it's all good. It's all good. Totti was gonna be my striker, and I was gonna have Letitia as my number 10. But since you grabbed Letitia, I moved Totti to number 10, and I made a quick pivot. My striker is gonna be Romario.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay. That's a curveball.
I'm gonna choose Romario, man. Romario, one of the greatest pure finishers I've ever seen play football. Just an unbelievable goal machine. That front line with him in Barcelona in the 90s was absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, that's who I'm gonna go with for my striker for this team. I think it's been a pretty cool little session. The little quick choices here and there, and the little ones that everybody doesn't expect to come out.
And do you know what, G? As well? It's just being able to elaborate on some of the things I've seen in the chat and some of the choices we're making. You know, for instance, we spoke about Wesley Sneijder, and it just gets me to talk about the Dutch midfield. Do you know what I mean? You can reminisce about all of them sort of players. I love shit like that. I could do it for, you know what I mean. For apparently 1 hour and 50 minutes at the minute. Do you know what I mean? Because it's nice, one, to not have to talk about Arsenal all the time, and two, actually be able to talk football, and when football was good.
Yep.
Because to be fair, most of, if not all of the players that we're talking about here are of a generation when there was actually world-class players and a bloody plethora of them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just like you had 4 world-class strikers, a couple of good number 10s. I mean, you're in heavy double digits.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we sat backstage just doing strikers, and we was talking about strikers for about 4 hours. Me, you, and Natster. That's just strikers. I think what was it we went to 90s and 10s. I think we had that 20-year, didn't we?
Yeah,
Adriano as well. I was thinking about mentioning Adriano, yeah, but
that's the beauty about this. You pay who you want to see. Everyone's going to have different players that they want to put together for this. So that's the beauty of the show, of picking your 11 that you want to see. If you wanted to throw 3 people on the bench, striker, midfielder, and a defender, who would your 3 people be on the bench?
I don't know. You go first there. You go first there. Sleepy brains is going to bed. So give me a minute. I'll get there. I'm starting to dribble.
For the defender, I'm gonna go with. Oh man, this is good. You know what, we brought his name up earlier. I'll go Carlos Marchena from Valencia, the center back. I'll go with Carlos Marchena as the center back. Strikers. Oh man. Who is the Dutch striker on Bayern in like 06 to like 08? He was, RSV said his name. That's what I was thinking of. Roy McKay. Roy McKay. Yeah. I'll go with Roy McKay as the striker.
Wasn't he at PSV for a bit, Roy McKay? Or
I believe.
Was it? Am I getting him? Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I don't know why. I've just got PSV in mind for some reason. But either way, I'm probably wrong now. I'm sleepy brain. But Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's a good shout.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he
was good. He was good. Yeah, he was wicked.
Roy McKay was on the Deportivo La Coruña team too.
Yeah, he would have been in the same time as Tristan.
Yeah.
100. Yeah.
Roy McKay will be the striker. I said Marchena is the bench defender. You know, I'm gonna have a bench winger, and I want to give this guy a shout out because he was an absolute magician to watch. Ricardo Quaresma. Quaresma was one of my boys.
Good shout.
Ricardo Quaresma was my boy growing up. Ricardo Quaresma and Alvaro Recoba were probably my 2 favorite players watching growing up. Absolute magicians on the ball, like I said. Just that'll be my bench 3: McKay, Marchena, and Quaresma for me. Love me some Ricardo Quaresma. Taught Cristiano Ronaldo all he knows about dribbling that ball.
Mate, he was an absolute boy. Like again, you know what I mean? He stick with his club, man. You got to respect that. So do you know what? I'm gonna name a Premier League player. Yeah, I've always respected him, man. Always, because he's a midfielder. He won his team trophies single-handedly, whether it be in a final or whether it be unbelievable goals only special players can do to get yourself, progress or anything like that. And that's Stevie G, man. Like that guy. I'm sorry. Like when I'm thinking about moments for him, you're obviously thinking about the final of the Champions League, but you're thinking of the Olympiacos goal in the build-up. The minutes are ticking down, and he pulls out an absolute screamer to get him out of the group stages. People forget that. That goal's unbelievable. I'm thinking of the West Ham FA Cup. That final goal, just ridiculous. Only he could do it. All right, let's not slip. You know what I mean? Let's not slip here. And then he goes and slips. Demba Ba, unlucky Liverpool. But that guy was just full of magical moments. And if he wasn't a player for Liverpool, Liverpool probably would have won significantly less. Not just less, significantly less. I think he carried Liverpool a lot, and that's a special player. I always like players. He's a proper captain. Roll your sleeves up. He'll do the job. I've always respected Stevie G, so I've got to throw him in there, man. I've always liked him. For defenders, again, I'm having a brain fight with that. But do you know what I do? Do you know I've always liked? I've always liked Danny Alves at right back. I mean, probably when he at one stage, one of, if not the most decorated sort of footballers. I think he was in his 30s or something like that. In Scholes is a great shout. Yeah, I mean, he was unbelievable as well. But fuck Scholes. Sod him. Man United, yeah, fuck him. It was unbelievable. But yeah, Danny Alves, I wouldn't have minded seeing what he could do in the Premier League. Would have always sort of. There's some players like him. I always have that intrigue. He was unbelievable in Spain. Could you have done it in the Premier League? That's obviously always remains to be seen. And what's his name as well from my central attacking midfielder? His name's gone out my head, but I'll describe him. Argentinian, played for Villarreal, missed a penalty in Arsenal. What's his fucking name? Riquelme, that's the one. Riquelme. What a boy, man. What a boy that is. What a boy that is. Yeah, he's well worthy of a bench, I think, old Riquelme, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm glad he can't score a penalty for love nor money, but but yeah, everything else, you know what I mean? Yeah, he was a boy. Yeah. I respected and rated the hell out of players like that. But yeah, man, they're the three. I've cheeked out with a couple, you know what I mean?
But man, that's a good freaking team, dude. That's that's the beauty of this. It's all on your opinion. It's all who you wish you could see.
Yeah.
And that's what's the beauty about this. So I'll just read off the teams real quick because I got it written down. So Aaron's 11, Casillas in goal. He's playing a 4-4-2. Casillas in goal. Roberto Carlos is the left back. Lucio and John Terry is the center back pairing. Cafu is the right back.
That's a naughty defense, bro. It's a naughty defense.
We got Damian Duff on the left, Joaquin on the right, Diaby and Van der Vaart as the two center mids. And then up top, we got Letitia and Thierry Henry. And then we got Steven Gerrard, Dani Alves, and Riquelme on the bench. I got Morgan DeSantis is my goalkeeper. I got Van Bronckhorst as my left back. Nesta is my center back. Ciro Ferraro is my other center back. Gianluca Zambrotta is the right back. Patrick Vieira and Esteban Cambiaso is my two defensive midfielders. I got Vicente as the left wing. I got Julie on the right wing. Francesco Totti is the number 10. And Romario is the striker. And then my three guys on the bench is Marchena, Roy McKay, and Ricardo Quaresma. My man, good talking some ball with you, my guy. I appreciate you pulling up after the OG show, my guy.
Yeah, listen, bruv, just quickly to jump in there. Like, you've given me so much time. Like, yeah, I am a little bit tired, but do you know what? When you asked me, one, I wanted to do it anyway, but two, I couldn't say no, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've given me so much time. Like, I have to. It's the least I could do, man. And do you know what? I've enjoyed every bloody minute of it, man. So thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? I have to give you some time back. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I might be a dope at work tomorrow, but I'll still get paid. So sod it.
I hear it, man. I hear it. Just for everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate everybody who stayed. Appreciate everybody who's been watching. Appreciate all the great comments in the chat as well. You guys have brought up names that we didn't think about, and it was just awesome to talk with you guys as well. So I hope everybody has a blessed night. Hope everybody has a blessed day. And we will be back. We will be back Wednesday with Taryn. Big up Taryn and BBK Sports. We'll be getting Taryn's 11 that he would pay to see Wednesday. We're going to do this with all the guys. I think this is going to be an interesting thing across the board with everybody. But I hope everybody has a great night. Appreciate it all. Smash the likes and hit the subscribe button. Smash the likes and subscribe to Aaron if you haven't already. And yeah, man, let's hope Arsenal slap up Chelsea and we have a day at Wembley. So big up to you guys. Have a blessed night.
Come on.